I'm attorney Martin Nicholson from the law office of Martin Nicholson, also known as the Battery Man for my focus on criminal battery cases. Now, people have asked me to do something about the Sean Puffy Combs trial. Well, I've been busy with my own trials. I've been in jury trial, so it's been hard for me to be able to make time to do a video about the Sean Puffy Combs trial. However, end of the week, I figured I would do a 1 week review of the Puff Daddy jury trial, what you need to know. Now, the music mogul is in the hot seat. And here's essentially a little legal breakdown. The first week of this Sean Puffy Daddy Combs P. Diddy high-profile jury trial has delivered explosive testimony, dramatic courtroom moments, and legal strategies that deserve closer scrutiny. As criminal defense attorneys who handle high-profile cases daily, I'm breaking down what happened and what it means for legal experts, from a legal expert's perspective. Now, here's just some basic key testimony that I feel kind of rocked the courtroom. Cassie Ventura took the witness stand. She was the prosecutor's star witness, and she completed some cross-examination on Friday, May 16th. The defense attorneys, they aggressively challenged her credibility, and that's a standard tactic in high-stakes criminal trials. Her testimony included disturbing allegations of physical abuse, including incidents where she alleges that Combs physically assaulted her after becoming enraged about some meal preparation, threatened her repeatedly to maintain control of her, and used intimidation tactics to prevent her from leaving their relationship. Now, what makes this testimony particularly powerful is the level of specific detail provided. In our criminal defense practice, we know, in my practice, I know that jurors often respond to concrete details rather than vague accusations, and that the prosecution is counting on these vivid descriptions to create this compelling narrative. I had a case where someone identified a smell, and they said that now this smell associates with my client, and that would make them sick and throw up. So, specific detail can create a powerful narrative. Also, Don Richard, she corroborated some of the key claims. She was a member of Danity Kane, and she said that around 2009, there was an incident where Puff Daddy became violent towards Ventura because she took too long preparing some meal. He apparently stormed into the kitchen, attempted to strike Ventura Casey with a skillet containing some eggs, and then Casey fell to the ground in a fetal position. Prosecution is hoping that this type of testimony will strengthen their case, because now they have someone that is saying, yes, this actually happened and I witnessed it. Another approach that they're trying to do is with the Freakoffs, and basically trying to argue that these Freakoffs are an enterprise, right? Because at the core of the prosecution's case is the allegation that Combs organized, directed, and electronically recorded what they termed these freak-off sex performances, right? So the prosecutors have characterized these as wild king nights, hotel nights that form part of a criminal enterprise outlined in their indictment. This strategy follows, in my experience, the standard classic RICO, Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act, right? That is a prosecution framework, the RICO Act. And this is where prosecutors are attempting to demonstrate that the individual criminal acts were part of a larger criminal enterprise or organization. And I've seen that, right? And it's very challenging when the government comes at you with a RICO case. These are very comprehensive allegations. Now, the prosecutor is also trying to build a narrative that centers on allegations that Combs used, in this criminal enterprise, this criminal organization, systematic deception, drug administration, explicit threats, and physical violence. And these methods were allegedly used to coerce women, including Cassie and an unnamed Jane Doe, into participating in these freak-offs. And this is what they're using to try to frame this criminal enterprise, saying that these isolated incidents are actually part of a bigger, more serious case, which is the RICO case. Now the defense, trying to create reasonable doubt, attacking the credibility of the witness. And that's basically a common approach when it's a he said, she said type of thing, is challenge the credibility. And they want to paint her as a willing participant. And she has motivations, financial motivations, to fabricate or exaggerate some of her claims. And then also maybe poke holes in some of the inconsistent accounts of key events. And this is basically creating that reasonable doubt as a primary objective. Another apparent defense strategy involves acknowledging that Combs may have engaged in morally questionable behavior while arguing this doesn't rise to the level of criminal conduct. This is a bad person, but not criminal. This strategy attempts to create distance between the unpleasant personal conduct and the specific legal arguments required for conviction. So, are freak-offs legal? I mean, if consenting adults want to, have sex, that would be legal. It doesn't mean it's criminal. And people are like, this seems weird. But it doesn't mean it's criminal just because you don't agree with it. Now, what's really at stake here is the prosecution's burden. They have to succeed. They must present a clear, a cohesive picture of alleged criminal enterprise. And this requires threading together witness testimony, digital evidence, and financial records to demonstrate that Combs established and maintained a criminal enterprise. He used coercion, threats, and violence to further that enterprise and engaged in specific criminal acts as part of that enterprise. Now, in my experience, cases involving alleged violence often hinge on the credibility of the witness and consistency of their accounts when it's like a he said, she said type of thing, right? Now, I'm not saying this is all he said, she said, because we do have some video, and I'll get to that later. The defense's opportunity is to create reasonable doubt, demonstrating consensual participation by witnesses, highlighting inconsistencies in their testimony and offering alternative explanations for evidence, and separating the morally objectionable behavior from the legally criminal conduct. These strategies mirrors those that a lot of defense attorneys employ when defending clients against such serious allegations, where creating reasonable doubt is the primary objective. Now, what to watch for week 2 as the trial continues? I think I read that it's going to schedule to last maybe 8 weeks. Additional witness testimony, maybe more alleged victims and witnesses will likely take the stand against Puffy, potentially corroborating or maybe even contradicting previous testimony, more digital evidence introduced, expert witnesses, and then, of course, the defense is going to challenge that evidence. Now, about the video, I, in the beginning, was all about, hey, I don't believe some of these allegations, it just seemed so ridiculous that I did not really believe it until I saw the video of him allegedly kicking Cassie on the video of the hotel where she was getting ready to get on the elevator. When I saw that, I started questioning myself and well, maybe there is something to it. That video that came out was very damaging, and just goes to show you can't hide things forever. Like, you can get in there and pay somebody to bury that, but that person probably made a copy of that, obviously, and waited for the next highest bidder to come and say, yeah, Puffy may have paid me $50,000, but you can pay me $100,000, and now I'm going to release it. So I think from my experience, that's really where the tide kind of turned against P. Diddy, is when that video was released, and then it kind of just opened people's eyes that may have their eyes closed and may not want to believe anything. But when that time came, time squared, time's up. When that time came, that's when I think that empire that he had, in some kind of $1 billion empire, started collapsing. And it's a shame if all this is true, that someone with so much talent and wealth would engage in such behavior. My prediction, we'll see a couple months from now, my prediction is I do not anticipate him taking the witness stand at all. I would be very shocked if he got on the witness stand in his own defense. This is a case where I think the evidence and the statements are so damaging against him that the attorneys will tell him not to take the witness stand. If he does, hey, I think that means a pretty desperate move. But we'll see. Stay tuned. I'll at least try to do one of these a week to kind of give a weekly wrap up, because I know I won't have time to do it all every single day. So I hope you like this. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, this is your Nicholson Nugget. Take care. Be safe. Bye.